Thank you very much, Mr. President. Witness, before the break, we were talking about the fact that you told DCCAM that people of Unit 17 could be exterminated. Why did you say that? Why was that Unit 17 composed of people who could be exterminated at any time?
They decided that we were considered traitors, and we were placed in the so-called Unit 17, and there were 50 of us. However, allow me to say it clearly before the court that I did not know why we were accused of being traitors. I did not know anything at all about the traitorous activity.
Vous avez dit à propos de...
You said regarding Peng, the commander of your regiment, before CDCAM, that is IS 1947, the Khmer page 0019660, in English 00680654, 45, beg your pardon, and French 008-260. This is what you stated. And I quote free translation regarding Mr. Peng. I know that they arrested him and executed him. Question, in what year was he arrested? And your answer was in 1977, 78. Why was he arrested? And you said they arrested him because they said that the central zone was treacherous, including the army of that zone. So you said the same of, you said the central zone and the north zone were the same. Now, do you confirm that even after the meeting held at Wat Nam, you were never told why your leaders were considered as traitors?
At that time, allow me to say that initially it was called the North Zone, and later on it was changed to the Central Zone. And later on, I did not recall the details regarding those related events, and if any cadre who was at a leadership level disappeared for more than 7 days, I made my personal conclusion that the person was taken away and killed. And if the person was to return before the 7-day period, the person would not be sent back to his former unit, but would be reassigned to another unit.
Est-ce que Eun...
Did Eun, Vern, and Peng, were they arrested during the same period? And did they disappear during the same period?
Eun, Kum, and Rung disappeared first. Then Peng and other cadres who were at a similar rank and level started to disappear.
Nous avons au dossier un certain nombre de documents.
We have on record a number of documents, particularly 342, which states that EARN numbers 8, 9, 10 went into S21 17 February 1977. We also have document E3 2285 number 87 is a list of S21 prisoners executed.
President, the Deputy Co-Prosecutor, please repeat the document and the EN number again, as the interpreter did not catch it.
Je n'en étais pas encore.
I was not yet at the ERNs, but the reference is E3/342. That's the revised list of S21 prisoners. It includes the name of EARN, that is number 8, 9, 10, and 7. And it points out that EARN went into S21 on the 17th of February 1977, whereas the document E3/2285 at number 87 of the list of S21 prisoners executed on the 12th of May 1977 also contains the name Son Chern alias Pen, Secretary of Regiment 12, who went into S21 on the 19th of February 1977. Do these dates refresh your memory as regards the date on which you left to go to Kampong Chenang Airport? That is to say that it was not before Eng, Ven, and Peng were arrested in February 1977.
I determined that once those who were leadership and who were recalled to go to Phnom Penh was all arrested.
Ma question c'est de savoir.
My question is whether those dates in February 1977 refresh your memory regarding the fact that you were not sent to Kampong Chenang Airport before February or March 1977, that is, prior to the arrest of the leaders of the division.
Yes, that is correct. However, at that time, the forces were dispersed and the leadership level was no longer attached to the soldiers under their subordinate.
Oui.
Yes. By the way, you state in your record of interview E3/5532 in answer number 4. This is what you stated, and I quote, free translation. The commander of the battalion, Sun, informed us that the next day we would be transferred to Kampong Chenang in order to carry out work on the airport construction site, and that only the soldiers from the section and the company had to go there. 5 GMCs came and put us on board the vehicles. At the same time, I saw 3 other vehicles transporting the commanders of the battalion and the regiment, including my chief son. The vehicles of my group plied the road on the National 4 road leading to Kampong Chenang province, whereas Son's group headed for Phnom Penh. End of quote. Can you tell us how many commanders and chiefs you had in the regiments and battalions who were led away in 3 other vehicles on the day you left for Kampong Chenang? I'm talking of those who left for Phnom Penh and not those who were with you.
As my observation, the convoy included 3 vehicles. As for my convoy, there were 4 vehicles and it was en route to Kampong Chhnang.
Et combien y avait-il de cadres dirigeants?
And how many cadres who were leaders were there in the 3 vehicles that left for Phnom Penh?
I did not grasp the situation as the process was done during the night time, and I only saw the headlines of the 3 vehicles.
J'en viens au chantier.
We'll now talk about the Kampong Chhnang airport construction site. When you were transported on these 5 GMC vehicles to the airport, did you have the choice to accept to go there or not?
I didn't dare to refuse at all. If I were to refuse, then I would be disappeared, because by that time we were under the control and leadership of the Southwest Group.
Vous avez dit une phrase qui...
You uttered a sentence that is of interest to me before the DC come, and in Khmer it is 0001965. In French it is 00823165, and in English 00680651. And this is what you stated, free translation. In 1976, the situation changed. Afterwards, I was no longer attached to the army. I was assigned to the examinations unit that had to build the Kampong Chhnang airport. Can you explain to us what do you mean by the words, I was no longer attached to the army?
When my group was separated from the main group and sent to Kampong Chhnang airfield, I was relieved of my duty, and I was no longer a soldier but a laborer working or engaging in labor at the airfield.
Est-ce que vous aviez été démobilisé, que vous n'étiez plus...
Were you demobilized? Did they relieve you of your duties as a soldier because you were affiliated to the people referred to as traitors within the division?
They considered us in Unit 17 was affiliated to the traitorous network in the Central Zone.
Est-ce que dès lors, l'unité 17
was Unit 17 henceforth sent to Kampong Chhnang to be punished or to be tempered by manual labor?
No, it was not like that. However, we were screened out and selected to engage in heavy labor there, so that our strength would be weakened and that we could not engage in any act against them. And we were in a position not to be able to refuse any work assignment.
Est-ce que vous aviez certaines libertés sur place?
Did you enjoy a certain measure of freedom at that work site?
field work site, you could say there was freedom. However, it was a limited freedom, and we were not allowed to move freely. We could only move within the limited assigned area. And you could also say that we were imprisoned in a prison without walls.
Vous avez dit à la page
You stated on the page I have just quoted, that is the DCCAM document, and this is what you stated. There were so many people who all had the status of workers. They were, by the way, all soldiers, which the Khmer Rouge planned to kill. Those people came from two zones, the central zone and the east zone.
Est-ce que vous pourriez me parler du statut des gens de la zone Est?
Can you tell me about the status of people from the east zone who also had the status of workers? When you compare your working conditions with those of the people from the east zone, what would you say?
The work nature of those from the two different zones, I can attest that the work to be done by us, Unit 17, was heavier than that of the other soldiers from the other zone.
Est-ce que vous savez de quelle division
Do you know from what division the other workers on the work site hailed, apart from those from your division? Were there people from Division 450 or Division 310?
No.
D'où provenaient les...
Where were the people from the East Zone you refer to as former soldiers who had the status of workers?
I could not grasp the situation at that time. My superior said that those people were from the East Zone, and we were not allowed to contact them, otherwise we would be disappeared.
Est-ce qu'il y a eu des gens qui ont disparu?
Were there people who disappeared from your Unit 17 while you were working at the airport construction site?
There was no disappearance in my unit. However, I knew that people disappeared from other units.
Et savez-vous pourquoi?
And do you know why those people disappeared? Were you able to find out why?
I did not know the reason for their disappearance.
Est-ce qu'il y avait des gardes armés qui
Were there any armed guards patrolling the airport construction site?
There were guards, and they were all forces from the southwest.
Est-ce que ces gardes du sud-ouest venaient?
Were those guards from the Southwest Zone members of Division 502?
ខ្ញុំ
I didn't have that knowledge.
Est-ce que ces gardes vous surveillaient?
Did those guards keep an eye on you or monitor you while you're working?
They didn't stay close to us. They were at a far distance from us. However, they were on patrol surrounding the area that we were working in.
Est-ce que les gens du sud-ouest,
Were those people from the Southwest Zone, particularly the guards, particularly watchful to avoid any people trying to escape?
សន្និដ្ឋានមិន
I cannot make any conclusion regarding the nature of their guards.
pourriez-vous nous dire quel type de travaux?
Can you tell us what kind of work you had to do on the construction site? And can you tell us how such work was painful?
The most difficult type of work there was to carry rocks and to lay them on the ground. And that was the most difficult thing comparing to carrying earth, for example.
Est-ce qu'il y a eu des blessés?
Were any people in your unit and other units, including those who had to carry rocks and perhaps to blast rocks, did they sustain any injuries?
បើ
For rock transportation workers, there were no injury. However, for those who had the duty to break rocks, got injured from the fragments of the blast. And that happened in my unit as well. And some workers died as a result of the blast from the rock breaking process.
Vous avez dit devant DCCAM.
You said before DCCAM, document IS 1947, in Khmer 00019 668, in French 0082 3168, and in English 0068 0654. And this is what you stated, free translation. I was transferred to Kampong Chenang, where life was terrible for everyone. It wasn't only the population that was concerned. Everyone was really doing an uphill task. Can you explain to us how terrible life at Kampong Chenang was, so terrible, and why you said it was an uphill task?
Allow me to say that our unit was screened out and we were assigned the heaviest task and we were subject to the execution at any time. And we were ordered to work non-stop. For instance, for the morning session we had to full hours and we did the same for the afternoon session. And at night time we had to do to 4 hours intensive labor, regardless of the weather condition or whether it rained. And that was compounded with insufficient food and with little sleep that we had. And that weakened us.
Justement à propos de la nourriture.
Precisely as regards food. Was the food adequate, balanced, and varied, such that you were able to obtain the energy you needed to do the painful work that you did on the construction site?
The food was insufficient, as I stated. Although it was called 1 tin of rice given to us, the amount of the actual rice was very little. And if you put all those rice grains together, it amounted to about only 2 ladles. And the food itself, the soup itself, was tasteless. The soup usually consisted of a water lily or morning glory, and it was very rare for us to have any meat or fish in the soup.
Vous avez dit à la réponse.
You said in answer 6, the record of interview E3. In English, the page ends with 4, and you said, I saw people being transported to the hospitals, but I don't know where that hospital was located, and the patients who were taken there never came back, very few came back. When you say that the sick were taken to the hospital, are you referring to people from your own group? And if yes, can you tell us whether you heard that they died at the hospital? The reference was E3/5532.
People whom I saw did not belong to my unit. They was from the East Zone as well. However, they were from a different unit and they worked at the same work site, but it was at a far distance from where my unit worked. And I did not see them return. And as I said, they were from the East Zone.
Est-ce que parmi les ouvriers du chantier,
among the workers in your group, or were there any people who were sick but hid their illness because they were afraid they would be accused of being lazy and therefore continued working until they were exhausted?
Yes, there were, but a few cases only, and usually we would have them. And sometimes we had to give them the little food that we had so that they would recover. And that's the spirit that we had for the members of the group, so that they could recover from their illness and that we could achieve the quota for the group.
And this will be my last question, Mr. Witness. I will quote from your interview with the DC CAM, IS 19.47, in Khmer 000 19659 260, in French 00 82 31 59 260, and in French 00 68 0644 445. And you said, and I quote, "I acted entirely against my initial objective. I wanted to be a soldier, and I wanted to fight Lom Nol and to liberate the population. Instead, I did the exact opposite of what I wanted to do at the beginning." End of quote. You said that you did the exact opposite, and you didn't liberate population. Can I say that you participated without wanting to a regime that put the population under a yoke?
Answer: yes, that is true. I did not like it.
Thank you, Mr. Witness, for having answered my question. I will now leave the floor to the civil party lawyers. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Present.
President, thank you. And the floor is now given to lead co-lawyer for civil party. Lawyer Lau Junti. Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, everyone in and around the courtroom, and good afternoon, Mr. Witness. I am Lau Junti, civil party lawyer. You have just given your responses to the questions in relation to food ration. I would like to seek some clarification on this matter. I do not really understand well about the word that you use. That is linh sung, and the linh sung in our Khmer culture is the container which we use to steam food. Could you give your explanation on this? Witness. As for Leng Seng, it was about the box which was used by old lady to keep nuts and the beetles. And in one Leng Seng, there were 4 parts in one Leng Seng or container.
បាទអរគុណខ្ញុំសូមត្រឡប់ទៅក្រោយបន្តិច
Lawyer, I would like to backtrack a little bit. You stated that you participated in the attack into Phnom Penh. And how many days did you stay in Phnom Penh before you were relocated to Kampong Chnang? Witness, I was not staying long in Phnom Penh. I was in Phnom Penh for perhaps 3 months, and after that I was transferred to do rice farming in Anlong Kangan, and after which I was transferred to Kampong Chnang.
អរគុណ
Question. Upon your arrival at Kampong Chnang, what was the situation like from your observation? Were there many people at that place? And did the construction start already? And what was the situation like when you first arrived at the place? Answer. When I arrived at Kampong Chnang, I was at the field. There were many palm trees and other trees in that area, and a large portion of land was cleared at that time. And after I came down from the vehicle, I was asked to line up, and we were divided into units. I would like to tell the court that when we were told to line up, and I could understand that the voice of the person who called us to line up at that time was the one who was from the southwest zone.
បាទអរគុណ
Lawyer, thank you. And after you were there, you have just stated that you all were divided into groups or units. And after you arrived at the place, you stayed in your respective units. And what was the responsibility of your unit at that time? Answer. Other units, including mine, had the same duties. For me, I was given a pair of the baskets and one shoulder pole and one hoe. Everyone got the same tools and materials. And after that, they pointed to the hill, the small hills that we had to dig, and we had to complete the work in accordance with the plan.
បាទ
Lawyer, thank you. I would like to know the supervisor or the leaders at that construction site, and particularly the chief of your unit. So where was he from? Was he the one who was from Anlongkangan? Witness. The one who supervised me was from the southwest zone. I did not know his or her name. I knew that these people were from the southwest zone because they did not really understand Khmer people, and if we look at them and if we did not comply with their assignment, we would be killed. Lawyer. You stated that you did not dare to look at their faces, and you said that they did not understand what Khmer was. Did this person speak Khmer, and was he Khmer? Witness. He was Khmer. His origin was Khmer. But he identified my unit, that is Unit 17, as the enemy unit. And I would do the work as assigned by him. I could not protest. Lawyer, thank you. You have just stated that you received a pair of baskets, shoulder pole, and a hoe. Were there any other modern equipments given to you? For example, if you were assigned to go and break the rock, you would face some fatal accident. Did you receive any protection kits? Answer. After I cleared the land, I had to go to collect a rock and also to break the rock. There were no protection kits, and if we were hit by the fragments, we would bleed sometime. And if we got sick, we also had to work. We did not have the freedom to complain or to protest. Lawyer, thank you. During the breaking of the rock, did you notice any fatal accidents? Answer. People died from the fragments of the rock almost every day, and the rock was broken by the blasting machine or explosive, and the one who was responsible for installing the explosive, if he or she could not run away in time, he would be killed by the rock fragments. And I was told, and I heard people say every day that when workers used the blasting machine or explosive to break the rock, some would die, and as some who got injured because of that work would be referred to the hospital in Kampong Chnang. Lawyer, thank you. If workers sustain injury, did the supervisor of units take any measure to avoid any future injuries sustained by workers? As you stated that there were people injured from work. Answer. If the ambulances came in time, and if the injured worker did not die yet at that time, they would be brought by the ambulances to the hospital. I noticed that those who stood and looked at the injured who were transported into the ambulances would disappear. So if we dared to stand and watch, they were transporting or taking the injured worker into the ambulances, they would disappear. Lawyer, you have just stated that if one dares to stand and look at the ambulances or look at the injured people or worker being transported into the ambulances, they would disappear. So where did you see such incidents? The incident happened at the work site, and the people who disappeared were from different units. they were not from my units. And if people disappeared, we would ask each other. We did not have the freedom to stand and discuss about the disappearance of our colleagues, but while we were working or walking, we would ask each other why we did not see some certain people. So as I stated, the one who dared to stand and watch the injured people being transported into the ambulances would disappear. Lawyer, I would like to seek your clarification as well in relation to the time when you were working at the construction site. Did you ever see any technicians working at that airfield? Were there any technicians or experts? Answer, yes, there were Chinese experts. Lawyer, thank you. Regarding the Chinese expert, were they aware of the accident at work? Answer, perhaps they did not know. That is why they said nothing about the incidents, the accidents. Sometime I was assigned to work close to the location where people got injured, and I knew about that. But sometime I was sent too far away to work. I did not know about the accidents. Lawyer, thank you. Were there any female units? And what kind of work did they do? Answer, there were many female workers from the East Zone. They stayed in a far distance from my place. And I noticed that there were many female workers at the airfield. I knew that some workers, female and male, were from the East Zone. They were from the north. Lawyer, concerning female workers, did they suffer from any accidents at work? Answer, I have no idea, but in late 1976, female workers were gone. I did not know where they went. Perhaps they were relocated, they were moved. Female workers would stay in houses, and later on in late 1976, I did not see them anymore. Question. Did you know the fact that there was a female who committed suicide at that time? Was it because she was doing hard labor? And did you know that there was a female worker throwing herself under the wheel of the steamroller?
ការងារនឹងខាងអត់ធ្វើអត្តឃាតអីហ្នឹង
Witness, I have never known about the suicide committed by the female worker. And we had the same working condition, but as for the lady who committed a suicide, I have no idea. Question. During the time that you worked at the airfield, were there any livelihood meetings taking place frequently? Answer, no. There were no meeting, even small or big ones. Question. If someone committed wrongdoing or infraction, for example, breaking hole or destroying the basket, what kind of action would they, what kind of accident did they receive? What kind of action did they receive? Witness. If one broke the hole or destroy any basket, they had to maintain the some parts of the fragment, or they had to maintain the broken basket so that they would not be in trouble. And as for my units, we never committed any wrongdoings. Question. When you were working at the airfield, how many workers were there? Answer. When I first arrived at the airfield, there were not so many people. There were around 100 workers. But in late 1976 and in early 1977, the number of workers grew. There were about over 1,000 workers. And in early 1978, I could see a worker everywhere. The number grew more, and I could see many heads at the airfield. Everyone was skinny and bony, because we were suffering from exhaustion. Lawyer, thank you. In document IS 1947, you were asked a question, and you also gave your response. You stated in that document that you could not trespass into other units or location, otherwise you would die. And then there was another question, a follow-up question in the document. And you were asked why many people died during the time that they were working at Kampong Chnang airfield. And your answer at that time was there was an instruction from Pol Pot, and people died because they had the slogan that keeping one is no gain, taking him or her away is no loss. So people would be taken away at any time they wanted. EON in French 00823168. EON in English 00680655. Khmer EON 000054205. What do you mean? I would like to know the statement that you made in your document. What do you mean by that? Witness, it happened a long time ago. I may have forgotten it. The unit who was assigned to do the work in one particular location had to stay in their own location. We could not trespass into other units' location. I was working to the west, so I could not trespass into other units' location. We would be arrested if we dare to trespass into other units' location. And if one was arrested, he or she would never return. You asked me about security and the protection taking place at the construction work site, and if the guard saw us trespassing into other unit location, he or she would come to arrest us. Lawyer, I have a last question for you. Did you notice any visitors or any delegates coming to visit the work site? Did you notice any Chinese delegation at the work site? Witness, I never saw any delegation at the work site. I did not know about that. Lawyer, thank you, Mr. President. I conclude my line of questioning. President, thank you. Before we adjourn the hearings today, the Chamber would like to inform the public that the Witness and Expert Support Unit has informed the Chamber that Witness 2 TCW 866, who was scheduled to testify this week, is unable to testify due to illness. She will be rescheduled to testify after the mid-year judicial recess when her health permits. Therefore, the Chamber will hear 2 TCW 855 this week in relation to the 1st January dam work site. And the Chamber would like to confirm as well that after the judicial recess, the Chamber will start hearing the witness in relation to Tropang Thmo Dam work site. The hearing today comes to an end, and the Chamber will resume its hearing tomorrow on the 24th of June 2015, starting from 9 a.m. and the Chamber will continue to hear witness Him Hon, and after which it will hear one civil party, 2 TCP 247. Please be informed. Thank you very much, Mr. Him Hon. The hearing of your testimony as a witness has not come to an end yet. You are therefore invited to be here again tomorrow starting from 9 a.m. You may now rest. Court officer with the West Sus unit, please send Mr. Him Hon to the place where he is staying at the moment, and please invite him back into the court room tomorrow at 9 a.m. Security personnel, you are instructed to bring Mr. Kirsampon and Nuon Chie back to the detention facility and have them returned tomorrow before 9 a.m. The court is now adjourned.